We got two game-changing companies
that can help you coming up right now.
Hello, everybody. This is Derek, and with me today is the only man who will play hide-and-seek with himself and the wildlife, and he wins almost as much as Sasquatch, except nobody really wants to come looking for Carl like they do the Squatch.
True.
Carl Mandrioli. Here he is.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Backpacking Blisters podcast, everybody. With me today is my lovely co-host, Derek Somerville. He's a man that thinks the only difference between eating regularly and a diet is instead of saying, I ate nachos, he now says, I accidentally ate nachos.
Too long and too lame.
Too long.
There we go.
Shorter than yours. What are you talking about?
Mine had a hook. Mine had a hook.
Right, we'll do a character count after the show and find out.
Character count. Quality, not quantity.
We got two game-changing companies, and I don't know. People throw around like hyperbole all the time, but I really do think that these could be game-changing. Maybe not both for a single backpacker, but I think everybody's going to find at least one of these companies, if not both, super helpful. What do you think?
I hope so. I mean, I think the more companies that change the game, I think the better. I think it all ups the ante. What are you laughing about?
Because it's so general and ridiculous.
No, because it's like if you have good people doing good things like these companies, it's going to like raise the bar for everybody else, or it should raise the bar.
It's going to challenge. It's going to solve some problems. It's going to challenge people, and they're kind of filling in some gaps, so to speak. So we hope that you find these companies helpful. And all right, so I got Bible verse for the episode, Proverbs 15:17. Better a small serving of vegetables with love than a fattened calf with hatred.
What do you find these?
What do I find?
Vegetables with love
in the Bible.
Bible a la Carl.
It means, with the kind of point of this one is, it is better to live simply in harmony, like with small servings of vegetables, than be surrounded by luxury in hatred. Do you agree with this one?
Do you feel like there's hatred with luxury?
I think that, what's the proverb? Mo money, mo problems. The American proverb.
Backpacking Blisters podcast.com. You guys want to write?
You don't think so? You think
I don't think that's necessarily true. I think
it's always true, but
more often than not, probably. Yeah. But
I think simplified life. I mean, that's really what backpacking is, right? You're living simply on the trail. For most people, you're kind of shedding a lot of the extra junk, and you're trying to minimize, right?
For the most part, we do have some poshy backpackers who like their luxury items.
Glampers.
Glampers, their air mattresses and whatnot. But for the most part,
their air mattress is a little bit too luxurious.
What are you talking about?
Calm down with the air mattress, everybody.
Carl and his down pillows, and his and whatnot.
Yeah, I think that's one of the attractions of backpacking is you live a lot more simply. I find it easier to pack for backpacking and try to pare things down than for car camping, where we can just throw a bunch of junk in the back of the car. So it's annoying. Yeah, super annoying.
You bring way too much, for sure.
Too much. Okay. All right. So we got two companies. The first company we're going to start off with is a company called Backcountry Foodie. We got Aaron from Backcountry Foodie. And with me today is a registered dietitian, a backpacking nutritionist with over 20 years of experience, and the founder of Backcountry Foodie, Aaron Owens Mayhew. How's it going today?
It is good. Thanks for having me. Excited to chat today.
Absolutely. I'm excited to chat too, because I've been kind of like perusing your site. You got all sorts of good stuff going on. So what is Backcountry Foodie, and how did it become a company?
Well, long story short is I had a midlife crisis back in 2016. I'd been, like you just said, I was a dietitian for 16 years at that point in time. I was tired of the hospital situation. I had a 2-hour commute each way, lived in the big city. Just all these kind of variables were going on. And I just got to the point where I was like, you know what, I need a break. Right. And I'd been a 3 to 5 day backpacker, and I'd always kind of dreamed about the PCT. So I was like, what better time than now to quit everything that I've and through hike the PCT and take that time to figure out what the heck I am going to do with myself next. So that's what I did. I started on my 40th birthday in March of 2017. And preparing for the PCT, I started prepping my own backpacking food, which I'd never done before. And the reason why I ended up doing that is that I was also a trail runner at the time. So I knew nutrition was going to be super important for me to be on the PCT, because I knew how I reacted when I didn't eat enough when I was running. Right. So long story short, I ended up making my meals for the PCT. And lo and behold, it became this huge thing because I focused on as much nutrition as possible, as lightweight as possible, small as possible, because I started becoming an ultralight backpacker. And that's how backcountry foodie came about. So I ended up making a cookbook was the first one thing that I did, but I realized I didn't like having to wait until the next cookbook to share recipes. So then that's when we launched the website where now I give new recipes to, all right, it's a membership website. So I launch new recipes every single month so I can share everything I'm doing, which is all trail tested on my I'm still long distance hiking when I can. So the recipes are on our website. We have a meal planner on there. Essentially, we do everything that I wish I would have had when I first started. So
yeah.
it's kind of those like, I wish I had a nutrition coach to help me do all this. So we have that now. We just launched a resupply service this season because I know what a hassle resupply boxes are. So now I make resupply boxes for thru hikers. And we're also launching a shop, which it's what you're seeing back behind me right now, where all these shipping boxes is. We're actually having a Build-A-Box shop now to where it's going to have everything you need for even a weekend trip, a 5-day trip, a thru hiking trip, where you can buy things in single servings instead of having to order a big bag of something. And you only need like 2 Honey Stinger waffles instead of a pack of 16, that kind of thing. So it's going to be specifically for hikers to get what they need all in one place.
You got a lot going on. A lot going on. I want to get into the story part first. So you mentioned, so you had the midlife crisis and you're like, okay, essentially you're like, I quit. I'm going long distance backpacking. Is that, so did you kind of storm out and you're like, I've had enough. I'm grabbing my backpack and I'm going. Do you have a story behind that, or what's going on?
Pretty much is that I asked to take I mean, I was just mentally exhausted. I wasn't exercising. I mean, there's all these things. I ordered a custom expensive luxury car online. So that was definitely like, something's really wrong because that's not something that I do. And my friends were like, what's going on here? So
it was just kind of making good decisions.
You're not making good decisions. I went on a vacation to the Philippines and Bali with a guy I met online that I'd never met before. So, I mean, these are the kind of decisions I was making at the time. That
you like, survived that, obviously.
I survived it. Actually, it was a really memorable trip. It was pretty awesome, but I was really lucky that it was very risky. So it literally was, I'm out, I'm done. At the time, my boss wouldn't give me the time off. So I literally left it all. And my parents thought I was nuts because you're 40 and you should be getting a 401k, you know, all those kind of things. And I'm like, so
you got some life lessons in here. So we got, if you're willing to buy a luxury car online, you know, sight unseen, not having test driven it, or go to a very remote part of the world with a stranger. Maybe those are some warning signs, I think, is what you're.
It was kind of like something's going on.
And then the other part of the story, so you're talking about how, so you're building out, you know, you're an ultralight backpacker, you're building out ultralight but nutritional food options for the trail, which is a problem for a lot of folks, including myself. And you said it became a thing. So when you say that, are you saying people are wandering into your camp, they're observing what you're eating, they're like, hey, what's that? What you got there?
That, and when I was working in the hospital, I had nutrition interns, and they're being young millennials and that kind of thing. They're like, you need an Instagram account, Aaron. Like, you need to start educating people for this. And I didn't know what Instagram was back then. So that's kind of how it took off too, is they were actually posting for me, doing a lot of education that way. So that's where it came about. And then also I use the PCT as kind of an interview setting. So I'd ask people like, oh, what are you having to eat? Are you struggling? You know, that kind of thing. So it's kind of like a data collection for me at the same time. And then one a funny story is that once people kind of started getting to know what I was doing, is they would message me out on Instagram and say, did you leave anything in the hiker box? I want it. They would follow behind me on the trail and be like, okay, where are you now? I want your leftovers.
I know. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's the dream right there, to have some gourmet food like just presented to you while you're out on the trail. Okay. So were you like in early on like the social media where you're just basically taking pictures of what you're about to eat? Is that you?
Yeah, I would say that's kind of, because I didn't.
That's like the stereotype that you're trying to actually, you're not just like bragging about your food. You're like, no, you can have this too. Like I've got the recipe. Okay.
Yeah, like here's the recipes, and I posted a lot of like, this was a disaster, like don't do this, because that's what I found in a lot of the cookbooks. That I bought 30 cookbooks trying to figure all this out, and none of them did what I wanted them to do nutritionally. So I'd be like, okay, instead of using instant white rice, which has very little nutrition, do this instead. Instead of doing this, do this instead. So I did a lot of that kind of teaching on Instagram that I think kind of got people's interest, because they're like, oh yeah, wait a minute, that does make sense.
Right.
So that kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah. And I noticed that I just kept perusing your site too. What really got me, what made me realize, okay, you know what you're talking about is you posed like the super common question, how much food should I bring? And I was like, oh, I hate this question because there's so many variables. And then like, as I kept on reading, I was like, oh, you actually know more variables than I do in terms of,
Yeah.
what you got to consider. And I was like, okay, this person really knows what they're talking about. So,
And we just built a calorie calculator for that very reason. We spent an entire year building this thing out because I was so frustrated with all the calculators that people are using online.
right.
Because the estimates are horrible. They're either super high or super low. So we spent an entire year reading all the research. I actually had to hire an algorithm guy because it was way over my head. Like I knew the calculations, but I didn't know how to put them together.
Right.
So it's probably would take me 20 minutes or longer by hand to do all the math, but it takes into account, I think, 15 variables. Like you're saying, it's your height, your weight, your age, your gender, like the terrain, the backpacks. I mean, it goes on and
So
on.
yeah,
and
so
on.
your terrain is like how much elevation gain are you doing? How many miles are you
Well,
doing?
is it dirt? Is it snow? Is it swamp? Is it
Oh my
bushwhacking?
gosh.
I mean,
Okay.
yeah.
And then
Are
it
you
just spits out like you need to eat X amount of calories per
exactly?
day.
And then it
Wow.
does day hikes and overnight trips too, because that's very different. Because that's what I found. The online calculators were doing calories while you're actively hiking, not a 24-hour time period, which is
Right.
very different. So you
Is
can
it,
have the choice of one or the other.
yeah, does it include your base weight, your backpacking
hmm
base weight? Okay.
hmm
Because that's tough because I know that some people's base weights are crazy low,
Yeah.
but then like not counting the food, just some of their consumables are just, they throw in extra this or extra, like an extra liter of water. And then I don't know. It's just hard to, I would guess it's hard to kind of really get it perfect, but that's impressive. I'll have to check that out. I did not see that. So calorie calculator.
Yep. It's
So,
a new tab on the top of our backcountryfood.com. There's a new tab up there. So
okay.
I'm super proud of it. We spent a lot of time working on it.
Gotcha. Yeah. I'll definitely, that's a great tool. And that's a free tool you just have on your website?
Free tool. Yep.
Okay.
Just free tool.
Nice. Nice. All right. So nutrition is obviously, like you mentioned, that you kind of alluded to this, but nutrition is a big part of your meal plans and the information on your website. So I'm sure just with your Instagram posts and just with meeting with different folks over the years, you probably have a lot of answers to this, but what kind of stands out is like some of the biggest errors folks are making when packing their food, like in terms of like, are they deficient in areas or overdoing other areas or just kind of what comes to mind?
I think it's the whole calorie thing is that most hikers, I think, really underestimate how many calories that they really need because of those calculators. People have been relying on those calculators for so long that when they've started using my calculator, they were like, whoa, like that's impossible. I'm like, no, you've probably been underestimating. Have you been tired? Are you hangry, aka cranky because you didn't eat enough? Are you not recovering well? I mean, it's a lot of those things that I think people, and I noticed this when I first started backpacking, is that I would hit the wall and not put two and two together. I didn't think like, oh, I'm not eating enough. Backpacking just sucks. Backpacking just hurts. This is just what it is. Because I didn't put two and two together until I started paying attention to food. I'm like, oh, wow, like I actually feel good when my body has enough fuel in it.
So you're not saying people are under bringing food. You're saying they're under eating.
Under eating. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and two, under eating, meaning that they might eat breakfast, never eat a snack, and might eat lunch. So you're having these super highs and lows too. Whereas one of the things I really teach people is just keep feeding your body all day long. You got to keep that engine going kind of thing instead of just having these huge meals and then not fueling yourself in between.
Oh my gosh. Okay. That's interesting. Because I feel like with the new pack setups where you got those like hip belt pockets, there's all these companies that are, they're putting pockets on your shoulder straps. I've even seen people have almost like an eating trough, like dangling from their sternum strap. People
That's
are still just, they're still not eating enough. They're still like that. Those tools are insufficient is what you're saying.
Yeah, because I don't know what it is that people don't do. But that's one of the most common things that I see is that I do so much teaching and they're like, oh no. Well, and one thing that I noticed too is that people will pack what they're used to eating at home and not ramp it up to what they're eating on trail. They're not taking into account all that extra energy. Right. So if you're not used to snacking at home, then I don't think they kind of move that into the backpacking situation because you're just not in the habit of doing that. So that might be part of it too. Is backpacking. I call it an endurance sport. I think it's like, what other sport do you carry a backpack? Are you like climbing 3,000 feet a day, doing this over and over again, not sleeping well because you're on the ground, all these things that I don't think backpackers give themselves a lot of credit when they should. So I think that has to do with it too, is they don't consider it like a real sport kind of thing. So I think there's just a lot going on with backpacking and nutrition.
Right. And then obviously, a lot of folks aren't training hiking with backpacks on or you know, like what I do. Like I'll walk around the grocery store with weights in my pack. They're not doing that. Nobody
Right.
thinks that's a good idea. But in the end, yeah, it kind of is a shock to your system. So recovery is a big deal for sure.
Yep.
So interesting. Okay, so Big Air is not eating enough. Okay. All right. So I found on your website you actually have, I don't know if it's part of the blog, but you have like a cold soaking guide.
Mhm.
Are you still getting a lot of hits on that? Like, are people still interested in eating this way?
I just looked at my blog post traffic today, and that's one of my top ones. For some reason, dehydrating
What?
strawberries is number one, and then
Okay.
number two is cold soaking.
Okay.
And
This is
that's
super popular a few
yeah,
years ago,
super
and then
still is.
okay.
Yeah,
All
and
right.
my
All right. You got to
resupply
tell me why, because
customers.
like this is confusing to me. Why do you want to eat like food that tastes good hot? You want to make it yucky and eat it cold. Like, what's the thought here?
That's the key, is you eat food that's meant to eat in cold, cold. Don't eat hot food cold. That's
That's
my
when
key.
I see it on
Yeah.
YouTube. People are making food that's normally hot cold. That's what I see.
Right. I think that's the problem. For me,
Okay.
I don't like doing that because like a beef stroganoff, I think tastes terrible cold. But a pasta
Right.
salad, yeah, like a pasta salad you get at the deli tastes amazing cold, or like a bean dip would taste awesome, or hummus, you use things that are normally cold and eat them cold. So it's just a rehydrated form of it.
Okay.
But yeah, I found it really interesting. My resupply customers that I did this year, 90% of them were cold soakers, didn't take a stove the first time. So I was really expecting them to be like, oh, Aaron, like I need a stove, like start sending me hot food. And they never did.
Right.
So I thought it was
All
really
right.
interesting. People are really just not wanting the hassle of cleaning a pot. They're not, because they're eating out of the bags. They're
Right.
not wanting the hassle of like having to find fuel, all the things that go along with a stove. But I cold soak
I don't think it's for me. It's not a hassle. For me, it's just like,
yeah,
the hot food around the campfire or just around the camp,
yeah.
kind of breaking bread together. Backpacking version is just, part of the enjoyment. I don't know that I'm getting the same enjoyment out of cold meals. I get the whole like go light and fast and shave some weight. I get that, but not over the long haul. I think over the long haul, that would be tiresome.
I
That's
did
my
it for the
personal opinion.
Oregon Coast Trail for like about 30 days, and I was like, I'll never do it again.
Yeah.
So I
That,
tried it, and it's just not my thing. But for some
right.
people, it works for them. So
I know I've seen it, but I just thought that trend was dying or was dead. So I guess
no,
I'm wrong on that one.
not
Okay.
that I'm seeing just based on our traffic and then what I've been feeding my hikers. Yeah, it's still pretty
Okay.
popular.
All right. Well, let's talk about that. So you mentioned that you're launching a new service. I think your target is long distance backpackers and through hikers. And so people, like, how does this work? So are people ordering specific like meal kits? Are you dialing it in based on caloric needs? Give us a breakdown here.
So the resupply service this season was one thing. Next season is going to be very different based on what I learned. So what I offer is a customized resupply service. What that means is that essentially a lot of my hikers had very specific nutrition needs, whether it's a food allergy or they had celiac or, all these different nutrition things that they were really nervous about being able to find those foods in town. So that's where I alleviate all that stress. And part of the resupply service too is especially for like long distance hikers, I ship gear back and forth. So if
Okay.
you're in the summer, then you need to switch out to like the Sierra winter gear, that kind of thing. I do all that for you.
Like you have their gear or you're using
yeah.
gear that okay.
Nope. So everybody has their own hiker boxes here. My spare bedroom is now resupply central. It doesn't have a bed in it anymore.
Oh my
It
goodness.
has at the peak of the season, I had 40 hiker boxes in there. Essentially, everybody had their own plastic hiker box where I stored all their gear. And because Amazon doesn't necessarily deliver to general delivery, like I can order new shoes, new socks, and that kind of thing, have them sent by general delivery. I can bounce boxes back and forward. I just do anything that you would normally do for yourself. I can do it for you. And my hikers just found like, it's a luxury service, honestly. It's just, you show up and your food's there and then you keep on moving kind of thing.
Okay.
But
So you're the go-between for people, like kind of encompassing everything from the gear to like whether it's their gear to actually replacing gear, maybe the stuff that's broken or worn out, to the food, and you're just able to kind of like, I'm going to send this here, and it's going to be ready to go when you get there.
I'm essentially a trail mom. So one of my hikers called me the trail concierge.
That's good.
Yeah.
I like that.
So yeah, essentially like you place your order and then I take care of all the magic in between that shows up. So I had one hiker that wanted to do the trail in 100 days. He's like, I don't want to deal with all that hassle. here's my order, and it'll be there. And he kept on moving, kind of thing.
Okay.
So that's what I did this year. Next year, what I learned from a lot of my hikers is they don't need all that extra support. So they don't need the gear because somebody else at home is taking care of that kind of thing, or they don't have the special nutrition needs. They just need regular food.
Right.
So what we're doing now is offering a resupply shop where, like I was saying early on, is everything you would ever need available is in the shop. And then it's like a hiker Amazon, essentially. You go and you like click all the things that you want. I put it in a resupply box. I put the stickers on it because I know all the shipping strategies for resupply boxes, like hold for PCT hiker, ETA, you know, that kind of thing. And then it's out in 3 days. You get it in about 3 to 5 days, kind of thing. So that's what next year is going to be that I'm working on. We're actually moving into a commercial kitchen November 1st. So
got a lot going on.
Yeah, I quickly grew out of my home kitchen. Like our house, you can't see around the corner, but there's like 8-foot tall shelving units back there.
Right.
Of all this stuff. So
That's crazy.
it blew up. I was really shocked at like the interest people would have in it. So.
No, because that sounds very appealing. And to be honest, like, so it's been a few years since I've done some through hikes, but the most recent one I did, I was trying to do the Washington section of the PCT. And as I was doing my resupply box, I just was, I don't know, it was a long time ago, so there weren't the resources now, but so I was having a really rough time trying to get variety in on the meals. And I just thought, man, am I going to really want this by the time I hit my resupply? Like, I think I'm going to be tired of this stuff, but I don't know what else to, you know, like there's only so many things. And so I feel like you're solving a pretty big problem in that regard.
That is one of the luxuries too, is that you only order when you need to. So it's a pay-as-you-go service. So if you need me at one spot and then there's a lot of grocery stores and you need me next spot, you do it. Or then that way, because that's the mistake that I made when I planned for my PCT, is I made all 5 months worth of food ahead of time. And, you know, you get sick of stuff. I mean, or I ended up getting hurt. So then I didn't use it all, you know, that kind of thing. So you're not investing all that time and money, that you just do it as you go. So when your flavors change, then your flavor preferences change and you pick out what else you want, kind of thing.
That's super smart. That is interesting. But the one downside I could see for you specifically is like, if you, I mean, you're like a 20 plus year, whatever, experienced backpacker, but the peak part of your job has to be during, you know, the summertime, the spring, the fall. So you got to be pretty darn busy. Are you getting out on your own backpacking trip still?
I've hired help.
Okay.
I didn't, but now I do.
Okay. So, it's depressing. You're like, everybody gets to go except for me.
Except for me.
Yeah.
That's what happened this season. But I've since hired a business manager and he manages all those things. And then I'm hiring. That's the other reason why I have to get out of our house, is that as a home business owner, people aren't allowed into the house to help. So I'm moving out of the house to be able to hire help so I can backpack again.
You're wise. Like, you're ready to go with all these thoughts and questions I have. Okay, so there's a lot to offer here. I think definitely we'll have your website linked in our show description so people can check out the calorie calculator and all the services you provide, especially if they're doing longer trips. And just to clarify, I mean, I know you're based out of California, so are you mainly doing California trails, or are people reaching out to you from the Colorado Trail or the Appalachian or
I can
beyond?
That's the other reason why I'm moving out of the house too, is my cottage food license only allows me to help California state. So now I can do the entire country. So this year is kind of a testing phase. So I just did the PCT, but I've already have my roster signed up for next season. So so I've already got AT hikers. I have a long trail hiker, PCT hikers, Colorado Trail. I can do any trail starting this coming season.
Okay. Well, I'm looking at doing like not a long trail, but doing like kind of a longer hike, like a 160-mile loop, the Collegiate Peaks loop. So I'll definitely be checking out your site in the process, and might be hitting you up. So
even if it's a 10-day hike and you just don't want to deal with it, then hit
me up. For sure.
It's that kind of thing that I love doing it. For some odd reason, I love resupplying boxes. I'm like this weird passion.
It's fun. It's like this person, like, I mean, you're like feeding their adventure, right? So and they're excited
like a trail
to get...
mom. It's like and we communicate via GPS and that kind of thing. So I'm starting to actually miss my hikers because I got to know them so well.
Yes, yeah. But I mean, you know, like whether you get to know them personally or not, like you're going to be a big part of their adventure story. So I think that you just become an important player in their lives, which is pretty cool. Yeah. So, all right. So, anything else you want to share about Backcountry Foodie? Anything that you got on the website that we should check out, or?
Other than we have master classes. So that's another thing, kind of where I brain dumped everything I've learned over the years, that you can learn it in like 45 minutes kind of thing. So if you're brand new backpacker learning about backpacking food, we have a food 101 class. And then, like I was mentioning earlier, if you're always hitting the wall, I have a class all about like how not to hit the wall. And then I have a class on ultralight meal planning, which is essentially teaching you all the things that I do myself. So that way in 45 minutes, you know all my tricks and you can do it yourself.
Okay. Wow. All right. Good deal. All right. So a lot of resources there. And like I said, I'll have it linked in the show description. Aaron, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing your awesome company. We really appreciate you.
Oh, sure. Thanks for having me.
All right. So let's break this down, Derek. First thing was this company came from a midlife crisis. She shared.
Yeah, I know. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's pretty intense. Some of the stuff going on.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. And you, I mean, as far as I know, like you and I don't have anything quite that intense for, during our midlife time, but 30, 40 years ago when you hit your midlife, did you
30, 40 years? Did I look good for 70?
Yeah.
I look good.
You're doing good.
Thank you.
Did you have a midlife crisis? Do you have anything?
No. Did I have a midlife crisis? I don't think I did. And I think I was very fortunate. Part of my, I'm not like I gotta have a new car or whatever kind of person, but I think it was more parts of the world I wanted to see. And so I think I was very fortunate to have seen all 7 continents before I was like 34 or something like that. So I
had you not done that, you might have freaked out.
I would have been more itchy. I would have been more like, I gotta, probably definitely would have felt that more. Okay. For sure. What about you? Is yours like, how many trails can I hike before I'm 50?
I mean, people freak out for different reasons. It's not all about that, but yours is a good point. Like I wanted to kind of get out and not just kind of feel stuck.
Because we talked about this like 20 years ago. You and me. I don't know if you remember this conversation. I still remember this conversation.
No. I was very hyper aware of the potential for this. What do you remember from the conversation?
I remember the conversation. You said to me, you made a good point. I still stuck with this point. It was, you're like, well, I think a lot of people have midlife crises because they don't feel like they've accomplished what they need to accomplish by the age that they're at, or they feel like they're behind, or like other people have done quote unquote more in their life or whatever. Right. And I sat there and I was like, I feel like I've gotten to see more of the world, seen and done more things than most people ever probably do. So I don't know. I feel like everything at this point is cherries on top, but I could see how a midlife crisis would make you want to have some huge change. And for her, I think it's kind of good it happened. It sounds like, because she's got this company going now.
Right. I think purpose is a big part of it. If you are just kind of like, doing the grind every day, and you're feeling like whatever your job is lacking in purpose, or you haven't found that purpose in your job yet, that could be part of it too.
Exactly.
But you could make the case this podcast is kind of born out of, that was, like I turned 40. We went on a backpacking trip in Glacier National Park. Podcast came right after that. So is this a midlife crisis?
Probably for you.
Probably.
Yeah. It's like a 7-year crisis.
It's still going. We're still having a crisis, I guess. But anyway, so kind of interesting that's how the country started. All right. So I feel like I scratched the surface with her. Were there any food specific questions about nutrition that I should have asked?
I wanted you to dive into more like, what are some of these recipes, or what are,
you want her to go like ingredient list by ingredient?
No, not ingredient. Like, hey, here's a recipe for, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. And like, what are her top 5 recipes maybe?
Like what types of food she might have?
Yeah. Like what are your favorite snacks that you bring on the trail?
Yeah. I felt like I wanted you there for that. So I think we got to have her back on.
I think we should. Okay. I think we should. Aaron, you're coming back on.
Coming back on when Derek's available, hopefully, and then we'll kind of talk about what the top food options are. I don't know. I got the website linked in our show description. You can kind of they have some sample stuff there, so you can kind of check things out for sure. But I don't know how I missed it, but I missed the calorie calculator when I was digging around on her site. I don't know if she added that after I was looking at, because she just added it, so that could have been the case. I've already played with it. All right.
I saw it. I didn't do it though. Do we want to do it? What do we want to do?
You want to do it together? I'll have you go through this with like our.
Tell me what your results were, or do you want to wait till I'm done?
No, it's more dramatic. We got to get download. Okay.
Okay. Let's.
So for those on YouTube, you can actually see us kind of cycle through this. I'm gonna just ask Derek the questions. We're gonna plug in the data. Yeah. All right. So I'm asking some pretty like particular questions, getting into some nitty gritty details. I'm not sure how comfortable you are, but we're gonna try. How tall are you, Derek? How tall?
6 foot, 0 inch.
Okay. And so this is trying to dial it in, not just a few questions, but it's kind of like we're digging in here. So what's your weight?
I think I'm a steady 167.
I've seen you the last few years, and you look very trim, and you look very similar each year. So you are pretty steady.
Thanks.
Okay, I put down is it 75 for age?
75, correct. No, 40. What am I now? 46?
46. Okay.
A young
And then
46.
ask gender. So I got male down. The
Close enough.
hike name. I don't know why that
Hike
is
name.
yeah.
Well, maybe they're attributing is like the trail name. Would that like change?
I'll just put Banff because we're basing this on our July trip.
All right.
Okay, so and then I asked the type. It's an overnight trip. What was your pack weight?
Pack weight was what? Do you remember this? We did this on film. Was it 20?
24? 24. We'll go 24.
24.
Okay, so the total, I think it's asking like total hike distance for this one. And so our mileage is, oh my gosh,
You know better than me. Oh yeah, we had to extend it probably like 4 miles, right?
I'll just put down 34 miles. All right.
Okay.
Over 4 days. This is where it gets tough. I don't even know if you can answer this. Do you know what your average pace is when we're backpacking, especially off trail?
I want to say it was like was it 2 miles? No,
I'll do
2 miles an hour.
I'll do 2.
It was about 2. I remember I thought about it once or twice during the trip. I'm like, we're going like 2 miles an hour. It's kind of slow.
Then I asked terrain type, and this is where it's hard because we had different terrain, different days. We might have had like 4 of these terrains. So I don't know. I mean, it has a lot of data points, but I don't know. This is,
it wasn't blacktop. It wasn't. I mean, I'd say dirt trail forest probably, or there was some bushwhacking.
There's also swampy bog / creek walking too.
You could say loose gravel too. You could say loose gravel. I mean, there was that's why I know we were a lot slower because it was so up and down and weird.
So this is hard. So I don't know how
you're looking for the trail. Just put bushwhacking.
Okay, bushwhacking. All right. So then we've got average grade. I don't how do you determine that? And if you have the data afterwards, it's fine. But I don't know if you can always get that.
Moderate climb.
I'm gonna say 5 to 10% gentle climb. It says
that's overall.
Yeah, because overall, we're averaging out. We had steep climbs, we had no climbs.
Probably 5 to 10. That's fair.
Yeah, average, and then total altitude.
We were
altitude's we were under 12,000.
We were under 12, right? What were we like 10, 8?
Yeah, it was 6 or 7. Not too bad.
So I'm way off. Okay, cool.
Temperature. This is such a wide range. So we got to go moderate. 32 to 86 is such a wide range.
But that's Celsius, though, right?
It's both.
Oh, I see the
Fahrenheit. Activity. Okay. Are you minimal, moderate, or are you active, like exploring off trail? I would get, it says moderate basic camp chores. Did you contribute at all to camp chores?
Yeah, I did the fire the first night. Get out of here.
Set up your first night, for sure.
Up with the tent. Okay. Oh yeah, that's true. First tent. Oh yeah, you wouldn't let anybody touch the tent the first night. That's true.
All right, moderate basic camp chores. Here we go. All right, before I click the button to calculate calories, what's your prediction?
2,800.
2,800 calories. I'm going to predict that you are so far off, it's embarrassing.
3. I'll say 3,000.
6,700 calories per day.
This is not happening. This is not happening.
So I plugged it in, and I mean, some of my data was different, obviously, like height, weight, but I also didn't put bushwhacking. And I think most of it was the same, but a lot of it was different. And I came up with 9,500 calories.
What? 95? How do you even fit that in your mouth?
I know. I don't even think I brought much more than that for the entire trip, much less. This is per day. Per day.
That's impossible for me.
Right. So,
no way.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. Both Rowan and Aaron were saying that we're not eating enough calories in general. I know I lost weight on the trip, so I know I didn't bring enough, but I don't know. That's like Michael Phelps kind of caloric intake there, right?
It's a lot of food. Yeah. And your pack's going to be so much heavier, so.
Oh my goodness. So take it with a grain of salt is all we're trying to say. So I'm not so sure.
Next trip, bring 3 meals per day full.
I just can't eat that much, man. I'm not even going to enjoy that.
I can't either.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I feel like if I do a double serving of a meal and I have 900 calories or something, that's I feel good.
Right.
So maybe I need more gummy bears. I don't know.
Yeah, that'll solve the problem. Last thing we talked about was the cold soaking of the cold. Like she said that people are doing that with cold food or food that's intended to be cold versus the cold soaking of the hot food.
Stop it.
I've seen.
Just stop the cold soaking, please.
Yeah, she said it's popular. It's a popular blog. People are clicking on it.
Just stop the cold soak.
It's okay to enjoy your food out there, folks. It's okay.
We should start an anti-campaign.
We mentioned this. I think I put this in an episode called backpacking trends that are going to die. And I mentioned cold soaking. Nobody came to cold soaking's defense. And that's a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So I think
You think it's like a regional thing? You know, like
it could be
maybe like
that, or
the
it could be
East
like
Coast.
a long trail through hiker kind of thing. I
People
don't know,
hate.
man. I
People
want
hate.
hot
Yeah,
meals. Give me some
I
hot meals.
know. Like people hate carrying a little bit of propane for a few ounces to have a delicious hot meal.
Look, I get if you're doing an epic trip, you're going light and fast. I get it, but for most backpacking trips, just
Like, why torture yourself more than you
Right,
have to? You
right.
know, I don't get
For
it.
sure.
Have your cold meal in the morning if you really
Yeah.
need one, and then just have your pesto salmon hot meal at the night. I don't get it.
Okay. All right, I think we've scolded enough there.
Okay, we're good.
Okay, so that was Backcountry Foodie. So
Yeah,
hopefully there's
yeah.
a resource there. Again, links in the show description.
Yep.
Next up, we've got a company kind of like the one-stop shop. It's called
Yes.
Near Zero.
I like it.
And this is where you can literally, like, if you're new to backpacking, if you know somebody who's new to backpacking, if you don't want to lend out your gear, if you don't want to, research all the different possible types, you just want to go someplace and be like, give me the gear, give me
Yep.
everything, I'm ready to go.
Yep.
This is where you go, is Near Zero.
Yep.
All right. Before we listen to it, though, I will say that we had technical difficulties.
No.
So the tail end of the interview kind of cuts out. So
Okay.
I'll fill you in on what happened there.
Okay.
Here we go. Okay. I'm here with Scott Jensen from Near Zero. How's it going today, sir?
Doing well. Everything's great. Thanks for having me on the show.
Hey, our pleasure. All right. So I know this is probably like not the question you were expecting me to ask out the gate, but I got to ask this. Were you a high school athlete by any chance?
I wouldn't quite call me a top athlete, but I did play sports in high school. I played soccer and I was a pole vaulter in high school.
You were a pole vaulter. Okay, because I saw a video recently. I think you were in like the Crested Butte area and you pole vaulted across a raging creek. You risked your life. You took a stick and you grabbed it and pole vaulted across. Did I get that correct?
Yeah, very observant. I didn't realize you watched that video. Yeah, I was recently backpacking in there, and there was a big river and found a long stick, so that was fun.
Okay, so yeah, I assume that your like days in high school pole vaulting helped you not die in that situation.
Certainly helped me have more confidence. Yeah, jumping
Okay.
high on a pole and swinging across the river.
Yeah, well, doing weird stuff or doing things that like we don't typically see in the outdoors are highly valued, especially on our show. So I thought that was super cool. So all right, so you're a backpacker and you've started a company called Near Zero, and we always like to have up and coming companies on our show. So what is Near Zero and who's your target consumer?
Great, thank you. Yeah, of course. So Near Zero is a lightweight backpacking company. We take the guesswork out of backpacking by providing gear that's simple to pack, lightweight, and ready to go.
Okay. And okay, so and who are you targeting? Is this for like a newer backpacker, for any backpacker, for experience? Like, where are you going with this?
Really, the majority of the customers are going to be your beginner backpacker. We lay it out. We put the labels inside of the backpack so people know exactly how to pack. So more of your long-time experienced backpackers still can use the backpack if they want organization, but they may not necessarily need to know where to put their items for proper weight distribution.
Okay. And so it's not just designed for organization like, hey, don't forget your tent, but it's specifically designed to make sure that all those pieces of gear are in the right spot so that, like you said, it's proper weight distribution. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah. So one of the aspects for patent that we filed is the proper weight distribution. So the backpack's been designed and the patent technology in it is to properly distribute the weight based upon our labeled organizational system.
Okay, nice. And then your pack, is it called the Dean? Is that
Correct. Yeah, the backpack itself is the Dean, and then the Dean backpack is offered as a bundled solution as well. So you can buy just the backpack, the Dean, or as a full bundle.
So then, okay, so if you buy just the backpack and then you've got your own like parts and pieces you want to add to it, generally speaking, have you designed it so that it's going to generally fit your typical, 1 to 2 person tent or, whatever you got for like cook storage or that kind of thing? Like, how'd you figure that out? I guess is my question.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Great question. So yeah, the backpack is a 50-liter open face U-shape opening backpack. It weighs 3 pounds, and the compartments within it, the tent goes there in the middle, and it will fit up to a 3-person tent. So if you have a MSR Hubba Bubba, if you have a Big Agnes tent, a Nemo tent, any ultralight tent would fit inside of that slot. and then sleeping bag down below. Most brand down feathered sleeping bags, if you have a down bag, would fit there at the bottom. As far as cookware, yeah, you could put a jet boil in that same slot, and our spot is designated for a teapot or a 1 liter type of pot with a canister inside of there. So your fuel as well as your stove.
Okay.
And then all those compartments, by the way, also can be unclipped. So if you want to take the webbing dividers out, it's very simple to unsnap it and take all those things or reconfigure it.
Okay. So you could actually shave some weight off the pack by taking out the interior compartments, is what you're saying?
Yeah, we made it super lightweight. It's just a few grams, less, about an ounce is all that you would be taking out. We've made it. Yeah, it's very lightweight.
Okay.
With those clips and mesh dividers. So it's not
You'd be
like
surprised. There's folks that'll be like, oh, an ounce is worth it.
For sure. Yeah. I've been one of those. Sometimes I am one of those kind of people, but
Right.
you can take it out.
Usually with all the compartments, pockets, and zippers and kind of parts and pieces of the pack, that typically adds a lot of weight, but you got it down to 3 pounds. That's pretty impressive. And then what he's describing is, so there'll be a compartment for a tent, but then like physically on the pack, the word tent is labeled in that compartment, so that I think you designed it so it's like not only do you know that your tent's supposed to go there, but it's also a reminder, don't forget your tent, or what, like whatever big other pieces that you're bringing. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah. Usually people won't forget their tent or their sleeping bag, but I've forgotten my sleeping pad before. And
whoa, for real? Okay.
Yeah. No, I've been on, and many scouts as well. I used many years, and many of my Boy Scouts, they'll forget some major items, and you're like, why? How did you miss that?
Yeah. Well, my co-host Derek, like, he's forgotten his sleeping pad before, but his solution was just to blame it on the shuttle driver, saying that it flew out of the back of the trailer. So I appreciate that you took ownership over that, because that's not typical for our podcast. But yeah, certainly some of those things are forgettable. All right, so getting down to like the nitty gritty here. So you said, okay, so you can buy the pack, and it's it's a good setup for kind of where to put the weight distribution, and to not forget certain critical pieces of gear. But you also offer bundles as well, and so you have, I think there were like 3 different bundles, if I'm remembering correctly. And so, like, can you give us like a typical bundle? Like, why would somebody want to bundle your pack with like a whole bunch of other gear? What's the advantage?
Sure. Yeah. So we offer 3 different bundles. We're going to be coming out with the 4th and even a 5th here soon too. But the 3 different bundles is a 5-item, a 20-item, and a 30-item bundle. Your 5-item bundle is really your big 4 plus 1. Okay. So your big 4 is your backpack, your tent, your sleeping bag, your pad, and then we throw in a pillow. Is your 5-item bundle. And then the 20-item bundle, all those same items, and we add in 15 additional items, such as your cook set, first aid kit, trowel, teapot, that kind of stuff, a mug, fire starting kit, hygiene kit, compass, those types of things. And then you add in 10 more items to get to your 30-item bundle. And this is the bundle that say, I don't want to think about it. I'm going to be going, hiking Havasupai next week. Give it to me at all. Don't make me think. Don't make me have to go research this. So we add in, we add in a chair, stool. We add in, paracord, bug spray, sunscreen, water bottle, and then we even add in a grill, a saw, and food. So we use refueled, freeze-dried foods, and we add that in for the entire big package.
Wait a second. So is there a demand for a grill and a saw in the backpacking circuit from your experience?
Yeah, that's a great question. So if you're going to be having a fire, how are you going to cook over that fire? Do you plan to cook over the fire? So many times I'll go fishing, while I'm backpacking, catch a trout, and I want to cook it over the fire. And so this little small grill just weighs, a few ounces, I think it's like 3 ounces. And you can cook steak, chicken, shish kebabs right on that grill. And then obviously if you're going to be having a fire, you need to cut down the wood, and it's a lightweight folding saw so that you can cut dead wood. Assuming that you're in an area that doesn't have those restrictions.
For sure. Okay. Interesting. All right. Yeah, I will say that back in the day, when I was working at REI, we had people periodically come into the store and they would say, hey, I'm going on a major backpacking expedition. I've got 10 minutes. Just load me up with what you think is necessary for me to bring. like everything from, you know, the big four beyond, kind of like one of your bundles basically, but we have 10 minutes to kind of throw everything into a cart. And it was surprising, you know, that was a thing, but apparently it sounds like you've got a solution for that type of person. So I think that's kind of what the bundles, or at least the big bundle before. But what's
Yep.
like in the bundle, specifically in the bundle, you mentioned the peak refuel, but are you designing, like, are you the tent maker? Are you the sleeping pad designer, sleeping bag? Are you using other brands? Like where are you going with that?
Yeah, great question. So we offer about 60 different SKUs. So about 90% of the products that we offer are our own brand that we manufacture.
Okay.
And then about 10% of it is things like we've partnered, we're a wholesaler for Sawyer for the water filters. We
Okay.
don't plan to do water filters, right? Food, we're not going to be doing any food. So we partner with Peak on that one. And then there's some other items such as a first aid kit, some fire starting kits, and things that are in the hygiene kit that we don't manufacture either, such as the toothbrush that we offer. We provide a toothbrush and hand sanitizer and those kind of hygiene items are included in it. Yep.
So out the gate, it sounds like you're manufacturing quite a lot of stuff. Like you're providing quite a lot. That's gonna be hard to kickstart a company that way.
For sure. Yeah, we're very diversified in the products that we offer, but that's part of our business model, right? We want a one-stop shop ready to go. And the only way that we could do it in an affordable, low-cost package like we're offering is to get it manufactured ourselves or
Okay.
you know, and do our own thing. Otherwise, is that we can't just retail and get the discounts that a wholesale accounts can provide and then being able to still make a profit by selling it into the customer. So
Gotcha.
we've had to do this on our own.
Okay.
With the major items.
And so at this point you're just available, like you go to your website. There's no brick and mortar store. There's no, like you're saying, there's no third party. This is like you go to your spot if you want to, like you are the one-stop shop is your website, correct?
No, so actually some brick and mortar stores now carry it. You can go into Scottsdale at Just Roughing It.
Really?
Wonderful store. Okay. Yeah, Just Roughing It in Scottsdale is a wonderful store, similar to an REI kind of a feel. It's specializing in hiking and backpacking. They sell our bundle as well as the backpack and most all of our products. And then several other retailers throughout the United States have it as well, including you can go to any of the 300 travel centers of America. They actually carry our pillow in there, and Subaru now carries our pillow also. There's a co-branding with Subaru, and then some other small stores as well. So we're branching out. We just signed a new contract with a new retailer, and that will be announced soon. It's a major retailer in the United States, brick and mortar.
Okay, so as you're trying to kind of figure out like where you're going to market your stuff or which stores, you're like, all right, let's go to the outdoor shop. Let's go kind of local, you know, because you're based out of Arizona. And then as you're kind of brainstorming, all right, where else can we get our product? You're like, how about Subaru? Like that just came up.
Yeah, they actually came to us. So they found our product online. They said, that is a really nice looking pillow. We love the color. And we want to help small businesses be seen. And Subaru picked it up. So
wow, okay, that's cool.
Subaru's gear site. Yeah.
That is super cool. Okay. Did you go to the outdoor retailer show?
This year I was at Big Gear Show. Last year I was over at Outdoor Retailer, but I was with Moose Jaw at the Big Gear Show this year.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. All right. What was your takeaway from the Big Gear Show? Any good experiences, bad experiences, partnerships that were formed? Anything interesting going on there?
Yeah, certainly mixed feelings with that. I was with Moose Jaw, so this last year I was participant in the Moose Jaw Accelerator program, one of the 4 businesses that they select. Okay. And so Moose Jaw last year did Outdoor Retailer, and this year they decided to stay in Denver and do Big Gear Show. So I was one of the small businesses in their large booth next to REI, and it mixed feelings. I mean, we were the biggest booth between us and REI, the biggest players there at the Outdoor Gear or the Big Gear Show. So we got a lot of visibility. You know, the news was on us. It was great for us, but as far as the attendance level, not nearly as good as the OR, the Outdoor Retailer.
Interesting. Okay.
Salt Lake City.
Okay. Gotcha. Interesting. Yeah, I actually was going to go to the Big Gear Show. I signed up to go. It's just up the road from me. And then, yeah, they didn't sell me on it. They just sounded like it was kind of like a podunk little show, and they weren't getting back to me. And I was asking them very specific questions, and they didn't have answers. So, Yeah, kind of interesting.
Yeah, I think a lot of people felt the same way. It was more focused on e-bikes. The e-revolution kind
Right.
of overran the gear, so the camping gear side of things. We
Right.
were stuffed in the back, and all the e-bike brands were up out front.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. That's not that's kind of not our target market either. So all right, here we go. All right, so that was Scott Jensen from Near Zero. Sorry for the technical difficulties at the end, but I think we got the crux of it.
Yeah.
We got that he pole vaulted over a stream. He started his own company. He's got, like I said, the one-stop shop. What do you think?
I mean, it's got a lot of cool stuff in here. Let's talk about some of the good. Like I noticed you got an Nalgene bottle. Well, how much is an Nalgene bottle normally? Like $15 to $20, $18. This is like
that much. Is it really that much at this point?
Yeah, I was just looking at them the other day.
Why were you looking at them the other day? What were you doing?
Because I use them here for my kids. I use them for my kids. So, but there was one. I think it's on. It looks the same. I don't know the quality of that, but it was $9.95 or $10. So,
are you looking at it separately? So I'm projecting now the ready to go bundle. This is where there's.
I'm looking at that too.
24 different items they're giving you. Everything from fuel to your backcountry titanium spoon to your sleeping bag to your. I think it includes it. Maybe does it include the tent here? I don't know. There's a lot to look at here.
Sleeping bag,
a mug. You got
sleeping mats,
filter, first aid kit, and you got the Nalgene. What's crazy is there's some things in here that I would not bring. Like I would get rid of. But it's saying that the total, like the base weight, is 16 pounds.
Footprint is your favorite, probably, right?
Is there a footprint? Yeah, there's a footprint.
It's a footprint,
right?
I mean, these are, and they give you the itemized breakdown of each thing, which is great. Right.
And again, it tells you where to pack it, so you don't forget it. So, does this supplant the gear list?
Probably.
Really? Would you trust this? You're like, I have labeled compartments.
I think it just depends. NZ35. Like, so I can look up, as long as I can look up the item, like here's the sleeping bag. NZ20, is that what it is? NZ35. Like, I can click on it here. NZ35. I can get the details of it. So as long as I can go through it and be like, yeah, I like all these things, great. They do give you some options as well. To like, oh, here's this bundle, but like, hey, if you want to switch out the sleeping bag for this sleeping bag, you can click on it. So as long as you have the option to kind of tweak it a little bit, I'd be like, this is pretty sweet.
Are you that person? So like you go to a restaurant and they have whatever meal and you're like, okay, I would like to get such and such. I would like to get the salmon pesto pasta. But instead of the pesto, instead of it being like a pine nut pesto, can you make a walnut pesto? And can you put a little bit of extra sauce on this side, but not on this side? Like, are you that person?
Sometimes. I think if I look at a meal and I'm like, ooh, I'm going to change like 3 or 4 things, I'm going to be like, let's just get something else. I try to keep it to like,
create another meal, right?
I try to keep it to like 1 to 2 changes max.
Gotcha. All right. Interesting. So that's, so you're saying that you can kind of do that. You can tailor it in here. So this 24 item ready to go bundle will cost you $958.
Right.
That's a lot.
It's a lot.
But you're getting a lot.
You're getting a lot. You're getting a $300 tent, a $200 to $300 sleeping bag, depending on what you get. You get a $100 sleeping mat. That's like what, $700 right there.
Yeah.
So
and the total base weight at 16 pounds. I like it, and I think you can pare it down even more. Like I said, like it looks like you get a full first aid kit with like the case and stuff. So I like it, but think about this from a person who's just starting's perspective. They don't know. They're like, I don't want to research 24 different items. That's overwhelming.
Right. Because it can be overwhelming. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And so this could be a good starter spot, and then you can kind of swap things out as you go.
Yeah.
So I think it's a solution for some new folks or some people, maybe some trip leaders that don't want to always kind of, I don't know. I've actually been recently to REI where I'm walking somebody, through not even 24 items, but like their big 4 items. And it took hours.
Right.
I wish I had this. I would just been like, here you go.
And then I guess I would be curious, like, I know, see here, ready to go bundle 2 reviews. I'd be curious, like the quality of a lot of these items. Like, are they pretty good? Can you like look up some of these items separately online? If that takes more time, but like, can you get a feel for some of these bigger items? Like, hey, let me just Google these online and see like what other people are saying about them, So
that's a risk for any new companies out there is you don't know how they're going to hold up over the long haul. Right.
So but the idea is good. I like the idea.
Okay.
100%. So here we go. 100% satisfaction guarantee. We stand behind the products. If you're not happy with your product for any reason, return it for a full refund within 90 days.
Derek's sold right there because he's like, anywhere you can return stuff, you're all in, right?
Just Costco part 2. There you go.
That's right. Right. So, and they might be starting to, I mean, we know that they're in some like those local shops in Arizona, but you might start seeing these brands and these package deals in your outdoor store. I don't know. We'll stay tuned for that. But
Yeah.
there you go. They've been around for
Indeed.
2 years, and okay, so hopefully one of those 2 companies was helpful. So I've got trail foodie trivia coming up right after this.
Bring it.
All right. So I got 3 questions, trail foodie trivia here.
Trail foodie.
Right?
Here we go.
So I don't know. In your mind, what's a foodie?
Somebody who appreciates food.
Isn't that everybody?
I mean, certain people don't like food. Anorexic people, bulimic, they don't like it, but and you got to eat it. So,
Derek's analysis of eating disorders summed up in literally 1 sentence. Wow. Who needs all these books? Like, you just go to Derek for this.
Just go to me. I'll figure it out for you.
Okay.
You know what?
I think a foodie is somebody who's a little bit more like, they've got kind of higher level, perhaps more expensive tastes.
I don't know about that. I think here's what I think it is. I think it's more like the people who really savor a meal. Like when and you're in Europe and you're having like a 3-hour Italian meal, like they savor the meal. The foodie. These are foodies.
Like when you say savor, you're like, they've chewed through the food. It's on their way down their throat. Then they kind of like internally spit it back up to re-enjoy the flavors.
No, that is not what I'm saying. I'm saying like here in America, it's drive through, wham, bam, get your meal, pay the check, go. In other countries, it's like this is like an event. We're going to sit down and eat this for a while.
Fair enough. All right. Well, it's along those lines. Here we go.
Fair.
Number 1, which of the following trail foods has the most added sugar?
Ooh.
Added sugar. I got multiple choice here. All right.
Okay. All right.
I've got A, honey stinger waffle.
Ooh, those are good. Yeah. Okay.
B, sport beans.
Oh, those are
C, Mountain House chili mac with beef.
Ugh.
D, Element electrolyte sugar-free drink mix.
Sugar-free. That's disgusting.
Element's good, man. It's legit. That's
no,
actually
it was. It actually is. It is actually pretty good.
I don't think you've had it. It's okay.
I did have it. You gave me one.
It's like super salty.
Yes, it was a little salty, but it was pretty good.
That's really salty. Yeah, no, that's a cramp solving problem.
I'm gonna added sugar.
Yeah.
I'm going with the stingers. The little
honey stinger
waffle.
waffles have 11 grams of added sugar. That was second place. Sport beans have 19 grams.
19. I knew it was beans or waffles.
Mountain House chili mac with these has 7 grams of added sugar. Just FYI.
Ugh.
The Element 0. So there you go. 0 for 1.
Awesome.
Number 2. Which of the following trail foods has the most total calories per package?
Per package.
Okay?
All right.
Per whatever I describe here. All right.
We'll see.
We got A, Range meal bars. Have you seen the meal bars?
Never heard of these. Range meal bars?
Range is the brand, but meal bars are a thing where it's just basically like these really large energy bars that are meant to be meal replacements.
Okay.
Chocolate, peanut butter, coffee flavored specifically. All right. B, Backpacker's Pantry salmon pesto pasta. Strangely, I was able to find the total calories, even though they don't make that anymore. Like I found like an old package, like a screenshot of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
C, 2 cups of Gorp trail mix.
Gorp?
2 cups of Gorp trail mix.
Okay.
All right. And then D, Backpacking Magazine's new product line of dehydrated water.
I'm sorry, dehydrated water. You made that up. Nice. That's good.
No, that's a very common dad joke right there.
That's hilarious. I'm gonna just say salmon pesto.
Salmon pesto was 620 calories. That's actually in the very low end.
Wait, 600? I thought it was like 1,100 with double serving or something.
No, it's like per package. It was 620. Yeah,
so I thought it was more than that.
It's a little embarrassing you use that because that's.
Are you sure that's Backpacker's Pantry?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm off.
The meal bars were 700. 2 cups of Gorp trail mix. 2 cups is a lot, man. It's 1,386 calories. Yeah.
Imagine
dehydrated water, 0 calories, FYI.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. I was curious. I was wondering, you probably have to have like 8 to 10 cups of that trail mix to like maintain your calorie intake.
Oh,
you know what I mean? So
I try not to bring trail mix, and I know you don't either. So
I don't either. No.
Okay, so we're at
2.
We're at a failure. You're trying to avoid an utter failure.
I'm trying to go for over 3. I just haven't done it for a while. I want to try and do it.
All right. Number 3. Which of the following foodie sayings should be a warning sign that it's time to find new hiking friends? But you also have to explain your reasoning. All right. So I've got 3 foodie sayings. Which is time so you hear somebody on the trail say something like this, and you're like, "Yikes! It's time to go look
for new friends."
Else with
harsh.
Hey, I brought along some tortilla chips because they're great palate cleansers. Okay.
Weird, but fair.
And I did look up. I'm like, I don't know what a palate cleanser is.
No, that's
apparently
true,
tortilla
yeah.
chips are palate
They are,
cleansers.
yeah, they're good.
All right. B, I'm vegan most of the time.
There we go. That's the one. That's the correct answer. We already know.
C, C, do you really eat that? I would never eat that. Not if you paid me.
I'm gonna go with the vegan one that you clearly pinpointed on me.
So, okay, do you feel like that? You feel like you're associated with that?
You feel because you pegged me as a part-time vegan, and you're saying you need to get new friends.
So you're saying you hear somebody say that they're a part-time vegan and you don't want to go hike with them even though you're a part-time vegan?
I think this
That
is
makes
coming
no
from.
sense.
I think you're coming from your own mental state when you do that question.
Really, any answer
It's
works
B.
as long as you have a good reason, and your reasoning is not good. So
The B.
0 for 3.
Oh,
0 for 3.
yes, I did it. Nice. Mission accomplished.
Oh my gosh.
Woo! I like
Okay,
it.
but
That's
that
good.
last one that I shared, though, I mean, we're joking about the first two, but that last one, surely you've come across somebody who's like that. Like, wait, do you really eat that?
Yeah.
Judge that, like,
I feel-
sheer judgment.
I'll be honest with you, and I love him to death. But Knowlton like eats some stuff. I'm like, you're gonna eat that?
Do you
Yeah.
ask him that and like give him the look of just judgment?
I don't know if it's full judgment, but it's like a.
It's in the tone of your voice, man.
Yeah, sometimes he has these meals that he brings or these snacks that he brings, and I'm like, what is that one? Is it edible too? And what does it smell like? Because I love him, but he's kind of like he eats a lot better. Like he has way more energy. He's taking care of himself better. But some of the things that he brings, I'm like, they can't be good for you, dude. Like this looks disgusting. So
Right.
I don't know.
I guess I wasn't paying attention. I noticed that on a recent trip. Knowlton's our good buddy. He's been on the show a couple times, but it's been a while. And he'll be part of our documentary, but he does have some interesting things that he brings to eat. But I don't think I've ever challenged him on stuff.
Maybe
like
it's
that.
maybe it's time. Maybe
I
it's
will
time.
say that our good buddy Rocky, he's brought some stuff where like the food is fine, but he's gotten these like, meals where you have to heat the meal up inside the bag. So you basically put the plastic container inside the pot of boiling water, right? And so
high maintenance foodie.
boiling the food inside, I don't know, and so I feel like I got to clean out the pot afterwards because I don't want all that like chemical residue in there.
So Rocky, just go and get some freeze-dried meals.
Yeah.
Just go get them.
Yeah, I don't know. There's more to that story. Anyway,
Okay.
all right. Well, so it's been a while since you've gone 0 for 3. A little embarrassed for you, if I'm being honest.
I'm proud of
but,
myself.
It's early, man. It's early. You're gonna come up with some beauty trivia. this
Sometimes you
season.
gotta remember what it's like to fail to succeed, Carl. You know?
I've got a tidbit question for you.
Yeah.
All right. So we went down the rabbit hole a couple episodes ago of our biggest dumpster fire trip, and we are good about not like both of us don't ever want to fail at things.
Mm.
And so my question is, that trip was like, we made it, but we didn't hit all the highlights or hit all the spots we were trying to get to. Should we redo the trip and just, I don't know, just kind of just redo it. Just go there, try to hit the lake the first night. And then dare I say the second day, just embrace the mutiny and try to climb up and over the mountain with that kind of loose game plan that you were suggesting.
Ooh.
Would you ever be interested in redoing a trip and just being like, we're going to tackle? We've talked about
same crew.
I mean,
You're
I don't
never gonna
really
do
know
that. That's
the
never
same
gonna
guys are
happen.
going, but we'll have similar. We'll say similar.
Do we have the core guys? The main.
It'd be like a July
usual-
trip.
It would be interesting.
Like, would
I mean-
you want, like, we've been kind of,
I mean, look.
I've been mocking the fact that it's super dangerous. I've joked around that, like, you're climbing an inverted cliff. It's not really that bad, but
Probably not. No.
would you want?
I don't. I mean, I know we're always about like let's see new places and do new things. 'cause
Right.
it's the year, but if for some reason we ended up back there,
It's not. No, this would be intentional. We wouldn't end up back
It
there.
would be interesting to try it. Yeah, why not?
Okay. We'll tuck that
Yeah.
away.
As long as we don't have any back pain, I think we're good.
Okay. All right.
You know?
Okay. Well, that's
Would you start that mutiny? Would you be like, guys?
No,
we're
it's
gonna go
planned.
to
It's
this-
planned. We're doing
going.
a planned. It's
Okay.
actually I guess it's not a mutiny anymore because we're actually in a plan to climb up.
Oh,
over the
well,
mountain, right?
if it's planned, I mean, it's not a mutiny. You know?
We're embracing the old mutiny and saying, all right, you know what? Maybe you guys know better, and so let's go and do that route.
Okay, that's fair.
All
I'll be ready
just-
for it.
Okay, just be ready for it. All right.
Like
So, Please don't be shy about leaving reviews on Apple. We will happily read it on our show, and we would be honored if you would do so. Please consider joining our Patreon family. We love them. They keep our show going. We've got the latest bonus episode is like a how would you call it? Like I'm butting heads with Jesse on the BAM trip, and you're trying to be the counselor. Is that how do you describe it?
The emotional roller coaster of Carl's journey on Canadian soil.
Poop hitting the fan in Banff.
Mandrioli, therapy in need, Canada.
There you go. So
there we go.
We've got that. Definitely some interesting things that came out of that episode. And Derek is strangely trying to be the calming influence.
I played the role of counselor, and I hope we made some headway. I feel like we did. It's a different episode.
Maybe you should be a real counselor.
It might be helpful for you. It was a different episode. I think we got somewhere though. I think you guys.
I think so. I don't think we did.
I didn't even get paid for it either. That's what's crazy.
Yeah,
it's shocking.
That's right. Thank you, Derek. Thank you for.
You're welcome. That's what friends are for. In good times and bad times, all that stuff.
All right.
Is that all you got? That's all I got. Guys, thanks again for tuning in. If you're on the trail and you need some snacks from the foodie, Carl's got all kinds of old salmon and baked beans in cans with his tuna in his bag. Go get it.